I never imagined I'd disappear from my own life. But that night 5 years ago when my wife's hand cracked sharply across my face, at her birthday dinner, I didn't just walk away from the party. I walked away from everything. The sting wasn't just from the slap itself. It was from a deeper betrayal simmering beneath the surface. A betrayal I couldn't prove but felt burning in my chest with a raw, unrelenting fire as I packed my things and walked out the door. Her friends and family sat frozen, forks paused midair, pretending not to witness the unraveling of my dignity. She didn't flinch as I stood, didn't call after me. Maybe she was just tired of pretending to care. That night, I vanished, no notes, no explanations. I left behind the house, the city, the country. People like me, we disappear in plain sight. I built walls around myself, crossed continents, and built an empire from the fragments of my broken past. Funny how pain can sharpen focus until it's razor-edged. 5 years passed. Then came the invitation. At first, I thought it was a cruel joke, an exclusive gathering of billionaire elites back in my hometown, a place I hadn't set foot in since I left. But there it was, an embossed envelope with my name, as if the city itself was reaching out to pull me back in. The plane touched down on a late summer afternoon, the airport heavy with the scent of old memories I wasn't ready for. As I navigated through rivals, an old college friend, Daniel, intercepted me. His face was pale, eyes jittery as if he'd just seen a ghost. "You don't know?" he asked, breathless. "About Claire?" Her name struck me like a long-forgotten chord, pulling sharp and painful through my thoughts. Daniel shoved his phone at me. There she was, Claire, as beautiful as ever, porcelain skin glowing under the camera's flash. But it wasn't her face that hit me hardest. It was the man beside her, his hand possessively wrapped around her waist. "That man is James Hartford," Daniel said grimly, "my best friend, my business partner, and the only person who knew about my suspicions back then. They've been married for 3 years. The ground tilted beneath me. My mind reeled back to that night, the tension hanging thick in the air, her sudden outburst, the coldness that settled like ice between us. I'd suspected the affair, but never confronted her. Hartford had been my rock when I left, telling me she was under pressure, that she still loved me. I trusted him. Now, I wasn't sure if I was angry or if the emptiness inside me was simply being refilled with old poison. But that betrayal had been marinating for 5 years, bitter and ripe. The billionaire gathering was held in a glass fortress atop the city skyline. The elite of power and money swirled around like expensive cologne. I barely heard the speeches or the clinking of champagne glasses. I was watching entrances, waiting. And then she arrived. Claire stepped in, draped in an emerald silk dress, the very shade she wore when she wanted to catch my attention. On her arm was James Hartford, impossibly smug. They moved together like a power couple, but only I could see the subtle stiffness in Claire's smile. When our eyes met, her facade cracked just for a heartbeat, but it was enough. Hartford approached me first, arms wide, treating our history like a joke to be shared. "Look who crawled out of exile," he beamed. "You're a hard man to find, old friend, old friend." The words tasted like ashes in my mouth. Claire lingered behind, quiet, her eyes scanning me like she was searching for someone she used to know. I wondered if she found him. We exchanged polite words, but beneath the surface was an electric tension. I knew things now about power, control, and deceit, things they never expected me to understand. Later that night, Claire found me alone on the terrace. The city lights sparkled below us, but the cold space between us was more vivid than the view. "I didn't expect you to come," she said, voice fragile. I looked at her, really looked. The lines near her eyes weren't from laughter. I wasn't planning to. There was a long silence. The distant noise of the party felt like it belonged to another world. "You knew about James and me, didn't you?" she said, not as a question, but as an inevitable truth. "I suspected, but I trusted him. And you?" My voice held steady. Claire's shoulders sagged. "I didn't mean for it to happen, but we were broken. You and I. You were drowning in work. I was drowning in loneliness." I laughed, sharp and bitter. "So you sought comfort in my best friend." Her eyes glistened with tears. "It wasn't supposed to go that far. But the night you left, You never gave me a chance to explain. What was left to explain after you humiliated me in front of everyone? The memory reopened the wound fresh and raw. She shook her head. I slapped you because you confronted me about James on my birthday. You knew, and I panicked. I was ashamed, and I took it out on you. I've regretted it every day since. It would have been easier if she'd been cruel, but she wasn't. She was human, flawed, fragile, crumbling under the weight of her own mistakes. Yet the scar she left on me had shaped who I became. I thought disappearing would bring me peace, but all it did, I said, was build walls so high that no one could reach me. And now, she whispered. I met her gaze. Now I see you married him. Her eyes dropped. Married, yes. Happy, that's more complicated. I leaned in slightly. You chose him. I chose what felt like survival. After you vanished, James filled the silence. But the truth is, he never loved me. He loved winning. Her confession hit me harder than I expected. It wasn't just betrayal. It was the aftermath, the loneliness that devoured us both in different ways. I had built an empire from spite. I confessed it all. I thought I was running from you. But turns out I was running from the man I was when I loved you. Her eyes softened, but I wasn't sure if it was pity or remnants of something once tender. The night wound down, but the conversation lingered, an echo neither of us could forget. We both knew there was no going back. Time had molded us into strangers who once shared a life. Before I left, she placed a hand on my arm. For what it's worth, I'm proud of you, and I'm sorry. I nodded, unsure if forgiveness was possible, but grateful the words were finally spoken. As I walked away from the event, I realized closure isn't always a clean cut. Sometimes it's an understanding, a shared ache that lingers, but no longer dictates your steps. Claire and James had betrayed me, but in losing them, I found a version of myself I never would have become otherwise, and that was enough.